Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. From fake news videos to something seemingly more benign like political parodies, deepfakes have certainly come a long way since their introduction in 2014. Initially, deepfake videos were fairly easy to spot. Now the computer-generated images are much more sophisticated and convincing thanks to AI tools. But let's backtrack a bit. How does deepfake technology actually work?
A deepfake takes one face and puts it onto another person's body, and then lets that person, or a computer really, control what it does. It only happens to famous people, right? Not that it makes any difference morally, but it used to be true that mostly famous women were the ones whose faces were taken without their consent. Partially because most people were interested in them, but also because you needed a lot of images of somebody's face from different angles and in different lighting to create a convincing deepfake. But two things have changed. The first is that you need a lot fewer images to create a deepfake now, and the second is that we have a lot more images of, well, everybody.
So most of us have pictures of ourselves online. And even if you're extra careful about what you post, there may be pics of yourself you're unaware of, floating around the internet like from a public event you attended, or if someone took a photo of you without you noticing. Enter deepfakes targeting ordinary people. Multiple deepfake scandals have made headlines in the past month, showing how common these impersonation tools have become. Vice News reported that high schoolers in New York deepfaked a middle school principal and a local law enforcement officer making racist remarks. Although the videos were taken down, some parents are preparing to sue the school district, saying this signals a wider threat. If a bunch of teenagers are able to homebrew such damaging videos, imagine what else could be done with just a little bit of effort.
I think it is with very good reason that Eurasia Group put generative AI, of which deepfake is one type, at number 3 on their top risks for 2023, after only Russia and China. They write that AI will erode social trust, empower demagogues and authoritarians, and disrupt businesses and markets. Just as importantly, deepfake's facial recognition and voice synthesis will render control over one's likeness a relic of the past. And the only protection we have at this point is the social contract and hope in human decency. It is going to get so much worse before it gets any better.
Dennis-Kenji Kipker is a professor of IT security law. I asked him, in what way could this deepfake technology be regulated?
Currently, they are pushing for harder regulation, especially of artificial intelligence. So, in the European Union, for example, we will be getting a special artificial intelligence act, which is also considering dangerous deepfake technology. But I think the regulators have here at this topic just started from the scratch. So we do not know every danger. We do not know every security risk, for example, when it comes to the use of deepfake. So in my opinion, we are at the very beginning for this regulation. And the other thing is we need also special regulations to punish the use of deepfakes. And in many countries, there are no special regulating laws which deal with that very specific fact of technology use.
So we've kind of talked about the negative in terms of deepfake, but how can this technology be beneficial?
Yeah, so deepfake technology can also be used, as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, for many entertainment purposes, as well as arts, as education. It can be used to create new images of people who have possibly died before. So you can have virtual talks, virtual speaks of them. So it can be used in the metaverse as well. And I think this is an upcoming technology which has not been used like that before. So if we combine metaverse technology, such as examples coming from Facebook and deepfake imaginary, we could create really new worlds of virtual life with that.
And recently, a new version of deepfakes has entered the chat. I'm referring to AI-generated voices. While many were expecting alarming, if not dangerous disinformation, you can chill out, well, at least for now, a little bit. It looks like the internet is just having some fun. Imagine a sophisticated version of kids playing with helium balloons.
Donald, truth or dare?
Truth.
What's the worst thing you did in office that the public doesn't know about?
No dare.
That's a little sus, Donnie.
Shut your mouth, Sleepy. I don't want to hear it.
I dare you to say something nice about Joe.
Okay, hold on.
This will be good.
Let me think.
He doesn't have anything.
Wow, this is sad.
Shut the guys, I'm thinking.
He's so lost.
Just like you every day in office.
Trump, stop stalling.
Okay, fine. Joseph Robinette Biden, I love how your smile lights up a room. I love how your eyes sparkle and shimmer in the night sky. I love how much you adore ice cream. I think it's the cutest thing about you. I love how wholesome your relationship with Barack was in office. It really makes me jealous that I didn't have the same thing with Mike Pence.
Time for a little throwback now. Retro fever is spreading like wildfire among the younger generation. And it's not just about fashion or music anymore. This time, it's about the way we consume media. It's all about bringing back the old school experience.
Let's talk about the fall of the Apple aesthetic. There's a lot of boredom right now with 2010s millennial minimalism, and its total control over mainstream tech, which is best represented by Apple. And as a result, there's this growing vintage tech nostalgia, seen in mood boards of colorful late 90s iMacs, phone cases that make your iPhone look like a 2000s Razr flip phone, phone charms, and wired headphones. Apple's kind of playing into this by releasing these rainbow-colored iMacs and even a pink iPhone, but it's all a little too muted, a little too bland. So I think we'll see some of that vaporwave vibe come back with the return of Tumblr culture, and also probably some more colorful tech coming out. I also think people are going to start using iPods again. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I think it's going to be like a style-driven choice now. What do you think?
First, Gen Zers brought back flip phones. Why? Well, just for that undeniably satisfying feeling after ending a call with the snap of a phone. Then they rediscovered the joy of film photography. Well, there's certainly something about the process of loading a roll of film, carefully composing a shot, and then waiting anxiously to see the results. You can't replicate that with a camera phone. And while other generations describe them as tech addicts, it turns out surprisingly that Gen Z prefers to pick up a physical book over an ebook. In fact, paperback book sales have boomed quite remarkably in the past 2 years, all thanks to social media trends like the hashtag BookTok. And now vinyl records have outsold CDs in the US for the first time in decades. And physical copies of music are increasingly performing better than digital downloads. Perhaps it's a desire to slow down and disconnect from the constant barrage of digital media. Maybe it's a longing for a time when things were a little less complicated and more tangible. Or maybe it's just because old things are cool again. Lights, camera, and darkness? Yup, it's an ongoing trend in movies and TV that you've probably noticed. Everything has gotten extremely dark. And I don't just mean dark thematically, but like literally too dark to see. Remember the last time you were trying to enjoy a film or series only to suddenly find yourself squinting at the dim screen? Well, the good news is that you're not going blind. The bad news is that adjusting brightness settings will not be enough to save you, because the black, obscure image is exactly what filmmakers intended. It's all about creating a mood and atmosphere that fits with the plot. Take HBO's hit series Euphoria, for example, which often features dimly lit scenes to emphasize the show's gritty and realistic tone. And who can forget the dark and ominous The Battle of Winterfell episode of Game of Thrones? It received flack from viewers for being too dark to see. However, the cinematographer defended his gloomy work, saying that everything they wanted the audience to see was actually there. And of course, we can't speak about darkness without mentioning The Dark Knight. But even though there's arguably no character more associated with darkness than Batman, the franchise has never been darker than now.
With 13 on-screen appearances across nearly 60 years, Batman is one of the longest-running franchises. And when you take films from across different eras and compress them into one big barcode-looking thing, they can serve as a sort of proxy for a story about the darkening of movies and TV in general. In the 1960s, Batman movies burst with color and brightness. But by 2022's The Batman, I mean, just look at it. It's a movie that lives and breathes darkness. So much darkness that some audience members have complained that it's almost too dark.
Even the beloved Harry Potter series is part of the dark film trend. As the franchise progressed, Harry Potter movies became increasingly darker and more mature in tone, with the final films featuring plenty of dark, moody scenes. And while you might blame directors' artistic choices for struggling to see what's going on, technology may also be to blame. When the top 100 US grossing movies from the year 2000 to 2015 were charted, based on what type of camera they were shot on, the point where the lines cross each other shows when movie cameras flipped from film to digital. And this shift is part of the reason why movies have gotten darker.
When shooting a movie on film, there is way less room for error and way more opportunities to make mistakes. For one, there are no monitors that'll show filmmakers exactly what a shot is going to look like before they record it. If you do shoot a dark scene on film, there isn't much room to correct it later, because the information in the darkest parts of the image is essentially lost. The overall image just becomes grainier. And in Hollywood, there's little room for error. Take a look at these two shots. This one from 2002's Spider-Man was shot on film. This one from 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man was shot on digital. See how much brighter Spider-Man and Mary Jane's faces are? With film, the safest bet is to shoot with plenty of light, even if scenes are meant to be dark. Shooting digitally allows you to take more chances with darkness, because digital shoots usually have high-quality digital monitors.
So, movie too dark? Why don't you leave a Google review or vent your anger about it on RottenTomatoes.com? And that leads us to review bombing. What's that, you may ask? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's when disgruntled fans swarm a website with negative reviews.
A bunch of people will get together and decide preemptively that they don't like not so much the movie, but the messages that are perceived to be within the movie. And so they will cluster on a review site like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and they will like plummet the score as low as they can by all giving it 1 star.
Review bombing actually originated in the video game community in 2008, but has since spread to TV series, movies, and music. Sometimes review bombing can be constructive, like valid feedback about a movie missing pivotal subtitles on a streaming platform, but other times it stems from more toxic and bigoted reasons. Certain episodes of hit show The Last of Us were recently review bombed over the casting of some of its characters and how it portrayed relationships.
Last of Us Episode 3 has a 4.3% rating on Metacritic.
Man, the way that episode, man, listen, I'm tearing up right now. Y'all crazy.
I'm thinking a lot about why things like this keep happening. Why really great shows keep getting review bombed. Because characters were gender swapped or race swapped. And if you were somebody that finds these changes jarring, it's time to really look inside and ask yourself, why?
So, unsurprisingly, the She-Hulk series is being review bombed by 30-year-old men. But like Victoria, how do we know they're 30-year-old men? I'll tell you. IMDb has a demographic breakdown of their reviews.
These neckbeards, for example, on IMDb, who've been review bombing the show before it's even out, with a whopping 41.4% claiming the show is a 1 out of 10.
Now, if you go on IMDb, you'll see that it has a 4.2 out of 10, which doesn't make any sense because a lot of people are saying the show is really good, the ones that have seen it already.
Check this out for a really cool way to solve computers overheating and provide a green solution to heat a community swimming pool. Data centers get hot and generate a lot of heat, and a lot of the running costs are spent cooling them down. So why not put that heat to good use? At the X Smith Leisure Centre in Southeast England, a data center around the size of a washing machine is submerged in mineral oil. As this warms, it heats the swimming pool water up to about 30 degrees Celsius. The project is the brainchild of a startup called Deep Green, which charges clients to use its computing power for AI and machine learning.
So gas in this leisure centre alone has gone up fourfold, from about £20,000 a year to £80,000 a year plus. Across our portfolio of 3 swimming pools, it's gone up about £300,000. So what we're hoping, talking to Deep Green company about what they've installed, is potentially it could save us 60% of our running costs. So we could be talking 30, maybe £40,000 a year of savings at current costs, which is obviously very, very significant.
And that's our show. Find us on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. Bye and see you same time tomorrow.